everybody, and welcome to That's My Opinion. It's not that there hasn't been movies, and it really isn't about that I haven't had reviews. It's about finding that sweet spot for reviewing, but today's review is important.
Enlighten me then.
So, be forewarned, I am a person who not only read the books, but enjoyed the story and was looking forward to the movie. So this in no way is a bad review.
Baby, haters gonna hate, and ain'ters gonna ain't.
I have spent weeks on Facebook reading horrible reviews, reading people who wanted to ban the movie, people who thought that the book was full of abuse. While I respected the opinion of those people, I did not share the same opinion, and to some points I defended it, not completely. The problem with defending 50 Shades of Grey, the book, is that it's a horribly written book. But it has its appeal. That's the problem. The reason I'm a fan is because the story has an appeal. Here's my thing. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I used to sneak out into the living room, turn on Showtime, and when no one was watching, watch Red Shoe Diaries. And I knew for a fact that this movie would just be another episode of Red Shoe Diary. I couldn't expect any more than that. Now, the book has a lot of porn in it. That the movie couldn't get away with that. It wasn't going to be what was in the book. Then I saw the movie, and guess what? Never in history has this sentence been spoken. The movie was better than the book. Yes, it was. It absolutely was. Not exactly sure how to do this without totally talking about the book. Let's do this. For the ones who haven't read it, here's the synopsis. Billionaire, dominant BDSM kinky guy, meets young college virgin, wants her in his life, doesn't know how to deal with the kink. She gets kind of weirded out, but falls in love with him anyway. And synopsis, fiction book. It is a fiction story. There is no billionaire Christian Grey in Seattle, Washington. There is no virgin, hot, attractive anywhere. Doesn't exist. There is no gullible, naive girl like that. So that's the book. That's the book synopsis. That's the book story. That, in case you're missing anything, that's what you're missing. Oh yeah, also porn. But here's the thing. The movie was not that. Here's how the movie made the book better. The book, I've explained, has its appeal. The appeal was kept in the script. Everything else was rearranged. Made it a better telling.
My inner goddess has stopped dancing and is staring too, open-mouthed and drooling slightly.
There was no inner goddess crap. There was no bad writing. There was no bad narrating. We had to assume how she felt by the look on the actress's face, and she did a good job. Again, where I stand out from everybody else is that I know who Dakota Johnson is. I knew her when.
There's really not much to know about me. Look at me.
But when I found out that she got casted, I was like, I like her. I know her. I thought Dakota Johnson played Anastasia Steele really well. The negative reviews that are going around is how Anna is such a weak person. I never got that she was weak reading the books. I always thought she stood up to him. She said, that's stupid, I'm not going to do that, and really stood her ground. I thought Dakota really brought out how strong Anastasia is. Anybody who's thinking negative of this film is not going to see it, but if there was a negative person who did see it, it would maybe change their mind about simply just her. I am on the team with everybody else that I didn't think. Jamie Dornan was not Christian Grey. It's not that he did a bad job, he just wasn't Christian. Christian, E.L. James gives us this Christian that is tall and intimidating and...
You are mine.
an asshole, really. And Jamie Dornan is charismatic and has a cute little wry smile, and he's shorter than I would have pictured. But it's not that he didn't do a good job, he just wasn't Christian. The highlights of the film was there were 3 things that I was expecting from the book that I really would have been irritated if they hadn't have thrown it into the movie. So I've been watching these trailers like a madwoman and watching every single one to get enough of the scenes that I wanted to feel sated since I had to wait till today. Another highlight to the film was the soundtrack. The soundtrack has gotten a lot of advertisement. Of course, there's 2 Beyonce songs in the trailers. There are 2 videos out from the soundtrack that have scenes from the movie. So I knew of the music. It, of course, didn't fit with the music in the book. When she wrote the book, she had her own music in her head. But they did a whole brand new soundtrack, and it was really fitting. They all did a great job of adding to the movie. And my last highlight, which only a person like me will understand, the movie ended where the book did. And I had the utmost respect for Sam Taylor Johnson to pull that off. It ends on a sour note. It ends on a cliffhanger. It ends where we are ready for book 2 and book 3, and now we have to wait for movie 2 and movie 3. I've been super excited to see this movie for about a year now. I even got all dressed up. I don't have all 50 shades of gray upon me, but I got in cosplay nonetheless. I've been dying to see this, and I was not disappointed. So I've only had one viewing, and I'm going to see it again tonight because I'm crazy like that. But I'm going to try because I'm feeling very passionate. I want to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think I've spent probably 5 minutes on talking about all the good of this film. The good was that it kept to script. The good was that the soundtrack was great. You know what? The good. Even though I've given you all of those highlights and all of those things are good, the good, in my opinion, which is what this show is based on, in my opinion, was how much they got away with. I wasn't expecting nearly as much sex as there was in the movie. They kept it R-rated, and I appreciated that. They kept it hot and steamy, but not vulgar, and of course we've all heard of the deleted tampon scene. I didn't want the tampon scene. I didn't like that scene. Of course there's not going to be a BJ scene in the movie, so I knew not to expect that. So what they did keep in, I was pretty impressed that they kept in. It was as hot as it claims to be, and remember that part where I told you about the Red Shoe Diary? It was as steamy as a Red Shoe Diary, but just as subtle and just as R-rated and not X. That probably isn't my best good. My best good was probably the highlight. The fact that they kept some of the greatest lines in the book. And that's saying something, because remember, the book is crap.
Holy fuck, is this wrong? But holy hell, is it erotic?
The bad. I'm gonna be a little critical here. The bad, I have to say, was the rearranging. I had the same problem in Twilight. But I'm just being critical because what they had to do, they had to do. They weren't going to have that famous scene there. So instead of having the conversation in the bathtub, they had it walking through the woods. And some of the dialogue was changed, but I appreciated some of the changes in the dialogue. But some of the scenes were really changed. In the book, he goes to pick her up from the store. They go to the helicopter together. For some reason, they decided to just have somebody drive her to the helicopter, and he was waiting for her. It's like, why make that change? They had to do what they had to do. They had to make a 6-hour book a 2-hour movie. They had to take out some of the hot sex stuff and still add in some of the conversation. When I say it's the bad that they made changes, I think it's just the fact that they changed it is a bad thing, but in my opinion, some of the changes were really good. A lot of the negative attention that the movie is getting is the abusive part, the fact that he's kind of a control mind freak asshole jerk guy. And they took a lot of that out of Christian in the movie. There's a whole bunch of array of posters going on through Tumblr, which in my opinion is completely taken out of context, which is what really upsets me. But there's some lines in there where he's just like, I'm going to tie you down and I'm going to beat you or whatever. I don't even know what they say. But they took a lot of that out. That's what it is. They didn't make him angry. The Christian in the book was angry like all the time. And in that anger, that's my bad. What they changed, because they took the anger out, there was a whole spanking scene in a boathouse. If any of you fans remember that, taken out. They took it out. That's the part I didn't think needed to be taken out. But I guess if they're rearranging other things, then it's going to happen. So it's a bad that they had to take things out, but in my opinion, it's what made the movie better than the book. The Ugly. You have to know that I'm a huge Danny Elfman fan. I have been an Oingo Boingo fan. I have been a Simpsons and Pee-wee's Playhouse, and I mean, he has always made me happy. Danny Elfman is more and more sounding a lot like Christoph Beck lately, and I've noticed that he's shown up in a lot of movies, and I really love Danny. I was very disappointed in him. As great as the soundtrack was for the film, the score was very Twilighty. It's like, Danny, we need you to make this film. Sure, let me watch Twilight and compose some music. I'm not sure that he could have done everything different. What bothered me is my music ear went, that's like directly from Twilight. And I guess if you're gonna make the story based on Twilight, then you're gonna make music based on Twilight? I don't know. I don't know that anybody else but me would hear something like that. That's the ugliest ugly I could come up with, though. I was so grateful there was no inner goddess crap. I was so grateful that they had some of my favorite lines. I'm so glad they kept what I loved about the book, and that they took out a lot of what I didn't. I know I'm biased. I know I'm giving you this opinion as a fan of the story. I get that I'm biased. I went with somebody who'd never read the books and hated the movie. And that's fair. If you hadn't read it, you didn't know why things happened the way they did. So maybe as a movie in itself, it wasn't really great. Even as a 50 Shades of Grey movie, it wasn't really great because it was 50 Shades. I mean, come on, people. It's not Forrest Gump. It's not even going to be Kingsman. It's not some epic film. It's just late night Skinamax. If that's all you're expecting going into it, that's all you're going to get from it. And if that's all you get from it, you know what? It was pretty hot. It was pretty hot and steamy for a Skinamax. I'm not sure I could give you much more. I know that there are a lot of movies I'm behind on. I'm hoping this is my secret window of time where I could give you guys these more often. I'm not sure how much time I can get Marcus in. I really would love to start reviewing movies with him again, but this seems to be the twilight hour, and only because the toddler's taking a nap. So I miss doing this. I miss you guys. I miss any comments. I miss reaching out to you guys. I miss telling you my opinion. It's something I love to do. It's something I hope to keep up. Certainly feel free to comment below on this review, but remember...
Hate us because they ain't us.
They don't hate us because they ain't us. They don't hate us because they ain't us.
I'm used to it. They hate us because they ain't us.
I won't take any negative crap. Sorry, guys. If you want to put how wrong I am, fine. But if you start a war, I'm just going to delete it. So, no wars. It's not worth it. This book, this movie, was not worth the time it got on negativity. Signing off for now and hoping to see you guys again soon.
Let Christian Grey seduce you over and over again through the voice of Gilbert Gottfried.
But when he hits my clitoris, I cry out loudly.